As soon as I started playing update 14 for Held Out Loose as the British faction, I felt something was off with the majority of their weapons, whether it was them actually being accurate to where you're aiming or if the zeroing's right, and the almost like ridiculous amount of ADS sway you get when looking around and strafing around compared to every other faction's weapons in the game. So since Dev Brief 189 was released, and it's confirmed that the British weapon calibration, where some of them are not correct zeroed, and there's been increased weapon sway for the British weapons, I thought let's take a look at the British weapons and confirm which ones are effectively a bit broken. So first off, we're going to look at the Lee Enfield and see if it's bugged at all. We're going to go for a headshot at 100 meters and we get a hit. So I would say the iron sights are fine for the Lee Enfield. Damage at 100 meters should be a one shot to the chest, which is fine. But now we're going to look at the sway, the iron sight sway, and I would say, especially when you ADS strafe, left and right, it can block the center part of the front sight sometimes, which makes tracking targets really bad. And I think this is something that needs to be addressed, and I think it will be addressed based on the previous dev brief. Now the jungle carbine, which is the number 5, I think the iron sights are completely fine. I think I just aimed slightly too high for a headshot. And damage, again, should be exactly like the previous Lee Enfield, and it is. It was a one shot at 100 meters. For the iron sight sway, it's not as bad as the previous Lee Enfield. When strafing left and right and looking around, it can occasionally block the front post of the sight, but it's nowhere near as bad as the standard Lee Enfield, the number 4 Mark 1. But again, I think this is something that will be addressed. Now onto the Sten gun, we're going to go for a headshot at 100 meters, and at that range it should be at the tip of the sight. As you can see here, we're aiming directly at the guy's head and we've missed every shot. So I've aimed above him here, and you can see the bullet landing even higher than where I'm actually aiming. So the sights are completely wrong. To get a headshot at 100 meters, you need to aim at the chest. So the Sten is broken in terms of the zeroing for its sights. So for chest shots at this range, it should be 3 shots it should get, but we have to aim at the guy's groin pretty much to get those shots. And for the sights, when ADSing, they seem to be pretty fine. I think the Sten will be a bit tricky to use just because the rear sight is so big. And onto the Lanchester, probably my favorite weapon to use at the minute, just because the sights are a lot cleaner and easier to use. And the zeroing seems to be fine on it. The damage at 100 meters should be 3 shots to the chest, which it is. And when it comes to the sights when looking around and ADSing, it does sort of block the front post sometimes, but because of how open the sights are, it's pretty much fine to use. But I think it will be tightened up a little bit in a future patch or update. Now the Bren gun, the zeroing seems to be fine at 100 meters. The damage at 100 meters should be 1 shot to the chest, which it is. But then when we get onto the ADS way, it's pretty much a disaster. It completely covers the front sight when ADSing. It shouldn't be like this at all. This needs to be addressed because the Bren is probably one of the worst weapons in the game because of it. Now onto the Enfield P14. Zeroing seems to be fine. The damage, 100 meters, seems to be fine. And now looking at the ADS way. Again, it's not as bad as the number 4 Mark 1, but it still isn't quite right. So what I'm going to do now is compare the number 4 Mark 1, the Bren gun, with the M1 Garand, so we can see what the ADS sway is like and how really sort of bad the British weapons have it compared to the M1 Garand. Because at all times with the M1 Garand, you can see the front part of the sight. All of the British weapons need to have their ADS sort of sway adjusted to be more like every other faction's weapons in the game. It has to be a bug. It's mentioned in the previous dev brief, that's dev brief 189, that the sway isn't right, but I think it's not right with every British weapon. Let's just hope that this gets fixed in a patch before update 15 lands. But this also brings up other questions for the game. We know that previously Team 17, their QA department has been overworked because Team 17 have brought on so many new projects and the QA team has just been overworked and underpaid. Now, with all these other issues coming through, I've noticed the issues with the weapons like straight away. As soon as I started streaming on update 14, I could tell something was off with the British weapons, whether it was the ADS way or something wrong with the Sten. And those tests I've just ran, that took me about half hour, and that was on my main PC, and I've got a dodgy old laptop, which is the second character of the target that I was shooting at. I had to get into position, get supplies into position so I can get some garrisons down and get some OPs up. But the developers will have some sort of dev testing maps, similar to like the post-scriptum firing range. That to me just looks like a dev testing environment where they can just jump in, choose a weapon, test it, and they must have like more analytics and feedback and stuff on this map to show where the bullets are landing, how much damage is being done, stuff like that. How is this making it through into like the live build of Hell Let Loose? Are the devs just not fully testing anything, or is QA just not happening at all? I'm not liking what's happened, and with the PTEs no longer happening, that's the tests that people, well, the public can do on the next update before it goes live, so we can get feedback to the devs, find any little issues, but that's not happening. And if there's no like dev testing happening, or not enough dev testing happening, or nothing going on with QA, then is the next update going to be broken as well? Again, it took me half hour-ish to test these weapons. The devs will have their own specific like testing maps or something to test these weapons out, and it's not going to take them like it's going to be nowhere near the amount of time they need to spend on testing those weapons in that environment compared to what I had to do in a public match. In Dev Brief 189, they do say that a patch is going to be released later this month, which will be addressing the issues from Update 14. But going forward, these issues just can't happen. If you want to make Hell Let Loose into something bigger than it is, then the patches, the updates, they need to be solid, not buggy. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Give the video a like if you liked it, dislike if you didn't. Subscribe for more, and thank you for watching.